thank you for joining me. I trust you're well. Today, I'm going to be talking about why people seek to be famous and some of the reasons that lead, not just many, have over our history and no doubtly will do in the future, make people want to chase being famous and being very rich. Why people do that and some of the lessons that we can learn from it and put that to good, positive use in our life. And this is actually on the backdrop of the suicide case of the very talented actor in Mumbai last week, Mr. Sushant Singh Rajput, who committed suicide. Very unfortunately, it's hit the industry in a big way, and a lot of things and a lot of ugliness is coming out as a result of that. Things like nepotism, how people are controlled in those environments and things like that. So why do people seek to be famous? That's the question. People seek to be famous because psychology says that somewhere along the lines they are fulfilling a void, some insecurity, the need to be loved, the need to be accepted, that has perhaps happened to them in their childhood, mostly or more than likely by their parents, and if not by their friends, or we shouldn't say friends because friends wouldn't do that, but the groups we grow up with. So those are the reasons why people seek fame. So let's put one thing in perspective. Talent doesn't make you famous. In fact, if it did, the gentleman who committed suicide, Mr. Sushant Singh Rajput, wouldn't have done that. He was very, very talented. What really makes you famous, makes you famous, and I can say this, some 41, 42 years ago, I did some acting, some modelling, and you need to really be a yes person. You can fit the criteria. I did. I was tall enough, slim enough, attractive enough. But once you're in, you have to then be a very abiding yes person. Not only do you have to be a yes person, you also have to fulfill some kind of favors. I don't need to spell those out to you. You can guess what they are in the glamour industry, but not just in the glamour industry. They exist in the academic field. They exist wherever there are people and hierarchies. You also, perhaps, if you really want to get to the very top, need to really, somewhere along the line, sell your soul. So that's funny, isn't it? People seek to be famous to fill in all those voids, but in having to fill their voids, they have to sell their soul. And then they're very unhappy and they're wondering why. If being famous, being rich was the answer to everything, then the groups of people that are very rich, that are very famous, would never have any mental issues, they'd never be unhappy, they'd never have any relationship problems, everything would be perfect. And yet we all know that's not the case. But yet again and again, and my parents and I were discussing this weekend, in a lot of the India, and not just India, I don't want to label India as being the country, I'm perhaps referring to it more because of this horrible suicide case that we had last week. But in most places, but we're seeing a lot of it in India in very, very young groups of children in these talent shows at the age of 4. You know, these young girls and boys are dressed up and they're performing on stages like mini adults. And you're thinking, there is no way a 3-4-year-old has asked to be on stage. There is no way a 3-4-year-old has been asked to doll up and enter a talent competition. That is then the parents fulfilling their voids, what they haven't achieved or would have liked to have achieved, wanting to achieve that through their children. Living their dreams through their children. So, the lessons really to be learnt from that, now that we've quickly had a look at why people seek to be famous, is to make yourself stronger, to make yourself more secure. And that comes from following something within yourself to make you stronger. It doesn't come from outside. And it certainly doesn't come from anything as fickle as being famous. Now, in this little video, I've just touched the tip of the iceberg. We can look at narcissism. We can look at the spectrum of narcissism. We can look at Darwin's descent theory of man. We can look at so many things and explore this a bit deeper, but this isn't the right video to do that. This is just a start. If you'd like some more information, give me a shout. I've also explored being well in some of my videos prior to this one, so please click onto those. I shall send you a link in what those videos are, and you can look at those. And remember, the famous people are not the most talented people. They are probably, in 99% of the cases, there's always an exception to the rule, the people that were prepared to say yes all the way and prepared to return a lot of favors. So don't ever get disappointed if you don't make it to the top. Just make it to a point where you're happy, and that isn't always at the top. Look after yourselves and keep well and keep happy. And thank you for listening. Bye-bye now.